Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's presentation as part of the Industry Insight webinar series. The topic today is Building a Successful Law Firm by Helping Others. Speaking today will be Christopher T. Anderson from How to Manage a Small Law Firm. Christopher T. Anderson is a proud father, husband, pilot, entrepreneur, and lawyer. Christopher has a singular passion for helping law firm business owners achieve success on their terms. Mr. Anderson focuses on helping lawyers understand the fundamentals of running our special kind of business with an emphasis both on our clients and on the stakeholders of the law firm, including an uncompromising focus on meeting the law firm owner's own definitions of personal, professional, and financial success. In short, through his frequent talks around the country and his work with individual firms, Christopher helps them be happy lawyers. The Industry Insight webinar series is hosted by the ABA Legal Technology Resource Center. To stay updated on upcoming webinars or view previous videos, visit ambar.org/industryinsight. You can also stay updated on legal technology news through our blog, lawtechnologytoday.org. The presentation today will be followed by a Q&A. Please enter your questions into the question box in the webinar panel on the right side of your screen. All questions will be addressed at the end of the presentation. We are also recording this webinar, and we will be sending the video in a follow-up email in a few days. The video will also be posted on our blog, which again is lawtechnologytoday.org. Thank you all for joining us today, and we'll now begin the webinar.
Thank you, and welcome everybody, and thank you so much for joining us. This is Christopher Anderson, and I also would like to mention that you can hear my podcast at the Unbillable Hour on the Legal Talk Network. So beginning with the presentation today, this is called Building a Business by Helping Others. The reason the presentation is called this is that there is a truism about businesses, particularly about service businesses. The amount of money that you can make, the amount of free time you can achieve, the amount of success you can have is directly proportional to the number of people that you can help and how deeply you help them. So we're going to talk about 4 key strategies to use that kind of leverage to help you become a happy lawyer. We're going to talk about understanding why your business exists. This sounds so simple, but it is the one key reason that many, many law firms don't achieve the success that their business owners, that the law firm owners, that the single shareholder or solo lawyer deserves to have. 2 is you have to have a written plan. If you don't have a written plan, you don't have a guide path, a guide map to let you know where to turn and how to succeed. It's like driving without a map. 3, learning the 2 jobs of marketing. Lawyers get marketing so wrong, and it's why so many lawyers don't like marketing. Marketing done the right way is lots of fun. And then 4, selling for your clients. Profit is not a dirty word. Let's get right to work. Again, my name is Christopher Anderson, and I had a great introduction, so I'm not going to spend any time on that. We'll get right to understanding why your law firm business exists. Hint, it's not to provide you a job. Remember, the beginning of this was why does it exist? But we have to even take another step back. It's like, why are you here? Why did you start your law firm? Why do you operate a law firm? Why don't you just go get a job? Why? And the answer to that is multifaceted. Many people think that they came to this webinar, come to webinars like this, come to speeches that I do because they want to take home more money. When the median income of single shareholder lawyers is under $50,000 in the United States, which it is, wanting to take home more money makes a whole lot of sense. But some people have made a little bit past that, and they're wanting more free time. The job is owning them. They've created themselves a job instead of a business, and they want more free time. Still others know that to get more free time, they want the business to be able to run without them. Not only do they want to have more free time day to day, but they want to be loosed from the week in, week out, month in, month out rhythm of their law firm, and want the business to be able to run if they take 15, 20, even 30 days away from the office. And all of us should want to have more fun. We are blessed to be part of a profession where we get to help people. It should be fun, and if it's not fun, there's something wrong with your business, and we're going to try to help you with that in this webinar and in the things that I do. So it all begins with understanding, first of all, we have to get straight. What is the business of a law firm? Because we get this so confused. I just said before that the amount of money you make is directly proportional to the number of people you help and how deeply you help them, but that is not the business of a law firm. The business of a law firm is not so many of the things that we concentrate on, that we market, that we think about when we think about what a law firm is. That is not the business of a law firm. The business of a law firm is very, very simple. We have a very simple business to operate. Compare it to almost any other business that entrepreneurs get into, and our business is extremely simple. It only has two parts. One, we have to sell legal services. If we don't sell legal services, we're not in business, because if we don't have anybody buying what we do, then there's no reason to do it. Two, a law firm business, a law firm business is involved in the delivery of legal services. We sell it, we deliver it, and that's it. Everything else is a result of the two parts of a law firm business. So then what is the purpose of your business? If we roll back here, if we talk about what is the business of a law firm, the business of a law firm was, one, to sell legal services, and two, to deliver legal services. Then what is the purpose of your business? The purpose of your business, first of all, is not to do a lot of the things that people believe their business exists to do. It's not to pay taxes, and that's there twice for a reason. It's not to provide anybody a job. It's not to support your community. It's not to improve your clients' lives. It's not to improve your employees' lives. Again, there's nothing wrong with these things. In fact, they're worthy goals, but they're not the purpose of your business. The only purpose of a business is to satisfy the needs of the owner, to fund her ideal lifestyle. In other words, to help her live life the way that she wants to live it, to give her the ability to live life the way she wants to live it, and to achieve her professional goals. That's it. That is the purpose of the business. Otherwise, why would we do this? You can do all those other things in a volunteer job. You can do all these other things in a nonprofit. You can do all these other things working for someone else. The reason to have a business is to satisfy the needs of the owner. So let's talk about what it means to define a successful business, because I tell you, when I talk to lawyers about this, when I have one-on-one consulting with them or group consulting, 90+% of lawyers I talk to have not done this in at least 2 years, and most of them haven't done it ever. We define it in 3 ways plus 1. A definition of successful business has to talk about financial success, personal success, professional success, and it should talk about fun. What does financial success mean? Financial success means being able, like I just said earlier, to live life the way you want to live it, but also means to give the way you want to give, to provide for those who depend on you the way you want to provide, and to leave a legacy that you want to leave, now and in the future. If it's not accomplishing these things for you, it is not serving you. But even to be able to define the business as being able to provide these things for you, you first have to sit down and answer these questions. How much does it actually cost to live life the way you want to live? And again, when I first start working with people, don't fall into the mistake that the vast majority do, which is to immediately hear that question and turn it into the way you deserve to live, the way you think you can live, the way you would tolerate living. I'll ask people the question, are you living in the house you want to live in? And the answer they'll give me is, yeah, it's fine. That's not what I asked. It has to serve you so that you are freed from wanting something different, so that it serves you to live life the way you want to live it, so you can focus your attentions on your clients. It's not all about money. Personal. How much time do you want to be working in the business versus on the business? When I often ask people this, I ask it in 2 ways. When I say, well, how much time do you want to be working in the business? I ask it, how many weeks per year do you want to be working in the business? And then how many hours per week? And oftentimes in an audience, when I ask how many weeks per year, hands will shoot up, and people will say, some people will really be ridiculous and say 50. But a lot of people will shoot their hands up and say 48 or 46 until we do the math. You see, in the United States, in almost every state, we have between 10 and 12 legal holidays per year. That is the equivalent of 2 full weeks of holidays. If you say 50, that means that you want to just have only the holidays off and not have another day off. or that you want to have 2 weeks vacation but work all the holidays. Some people then shoot their hands up and say 48. But you know what? On average, as adults, we have about 10 days worth of stuff happen to us. 10 days worth of being sick or having family members that are sick, 10 days worth of funerals, weddings, major life events that we need to attend to. That happens about 10 days per year. That's another 2 weeks. So again, you shoot your hand up and you say 48. You've got 2 weeks of holidays, 2 weeks of stuff. Again, 0 vacation. If you want to take the bare minimum of 2 weeks vacation, you're at 46. If you want to have a reasonable 4 weeks vacation, Europeans wouldn't think it reasonable, but we do, for 4 weeks, then you're already to 44 weeks. Why is this important? If you don't make your plan for 44 weeks so that you can achieve your financial goals working 44 weeks, you're going to fall short and be tempted to eat into the time that you want to not be working in the business. And then you should also be reserving time to work on the business, to grow your business, to grow yourself as a business owner, and then also define how much time you want to have for other pursuits. When we looked at the financial, remember, you'll go through a series of questions, and we don't have time in a webinar. This is like a day-long exercise that I do with people, where you'll ask yourself the question, how much does it cost to live in the house that I want to live in the neighborhood I want to live in? How much does it cost to drive the car I want to drive? How much does it cost to have the vacations I want to have? How much does it cost to send my kids to the schools I want to? How much does it cost to be putting into my 401k to retire the way I want to retire? How much does it cost to support my children, my parents, others who depend on me, my spouse? How much does it cost to be able to leave a legacy that I want to leave? Adding all those things up gives you the actual financial goal. Well, in the same way that you do that, you do it with personal. When you say you want to have time for other pursuits, what other pursuits and how much time do you really want to have? Gandhi once said that if you really want to know a person's priorities, you need to look only in 2 places, their checkbook and their calendar. So when you answer the question, how much time do you want to have for other pursuits, answer honestly, what are you spending your free time on today? And don't fool yourself as to wanting to spend it on other things. Make the decision clearly as to where your values are and where you want to spend time on other pursuits, and make that part of your plan. And then finally, we chose to be lawyers. We could have been doctors or dentists. We could have been car mechanics. We could have been accountants. We could have been, if you're a lawyer, chances are you could have been just about anything. Why did you choose to be a lawyer? And what should your law firm business do that makes you proud? How can it be an expression of your values? That also needs to be a part of the plan. Listen, like most of you, I went to law school with about 200 people. We were split into 3 sections, about 66 per section. And in each section, about 1/3, 30% roughly, were there to make money. They sat up front, their hands shot up early, they were there and they got great scores on the exams, and they went to big law, and they are making money, most of them, at least for a time. And then there was another approximately 1/3, closer to 40%, who were there because somebody told them that you can do anything with a law degree, and you can, and somebody also said, I'll pay for it. And so they were there to continue their schooling, and they went on and did anything with a law degree, which is just fine. And then there were the rest of us, those whose parents let them read Harper Lee, those whose parents let them watch Matlock or watch LA Law or Law and Order, and fall in love with the priesthood of the law. We wanted to make a difference in the world, and we were taught in that if we worked hard and diligently, that we were more or less guaranteed a decent standard of living, a decent quality of life, and have a ticket to change the world. But the truth is that among those, again, the median income of single shareholders is under $50,000. Among those, half of the people are making less. So they're not making a decent living. They're working way harder than they thought they would. And worst of all, when you put those 2 things together, I guarantee you they're not making a difference in the world that they thought they could. So here's the exercise, and this is in the workbook that you'll be able to download at the end of this webinar. The exercise is in there and instructions on how to do it. But this is the basic table. You decide how much money you want to make as your definition, how many weeks per year and how many hours per week you want to work in the business, what do you want to accomplish professionally, and any other definitions that would make your business successful for you. The key is to write it down, to spend the time. I do this My goal is to do this quarterly, but I do it no fewer than twice a year, and I spend a full day setting these goals again and again, because life changes, my priorities change, so do yours. Take the time, do this exercise to help define your definition of a successful business. Why should your shareholders continue to invest in your firm? Who are your shareholders? I'm a single shareholder of my law firm. I don't have any other stakeholders. Nonsense. The bar tells you that no others can't own part of your law firm, but that's not really true. You have people in your life who have a claim to your money. You have people in your life who have a claim to your time. You have people in your life who have a claim to your attention, to your presence of mind when you're with them. These are stakeholders, and you borrow from them. You take from them when you invest your time, money, or presence, or attention, or energy into your law firm. Don't discount that you do, and you borrow from yourself as well. So if you had a client come to you, lawyers, even if you're not transactional lawyers, this should strike a chord. You have a client, let's call him Dr. Bob, and he comes to you. He's an oncologist, and he has more money than he knows what to do with. And he has another friend, let's call his friend Dr. Jim. Dr. Jim has invented a medical device and has asked Dr. Bob to invest. Dr. Bob, having worked with you, the lawyer, before, does his due diligence, goes to Dr. Jim, has Dr. Jim demonstrate the medical device, teach him about it, tests it out, and Dr. Bob is thoroughly convinced that this medical device works, and it works well. It does what it's supposed to do. Also, he goes to church with Dr. Jim and knows Dr. Jim has a reputation in the community for being as honest as the day is long. Dr. Jim would never hurt anybody intentionally or otherwise and would try to make it right if he did. Dr. Jim is honest. So Dr. Bob comes to you and says, so what Dr. Jim wants is a $500,000 investment in his medical device. And because I've worked with you, Mr. Lawyer or Ms. Lawyer, I also asked him this key question, which is, other than does it work, which we tested, are you honest? I know he is. The other question is, do you have a plan on how, a written plan that explains in plain English that I can understand how I'm going to get a return on the money that I invest in you? And Dr. Jim says, no, I don't have a written plan, but this looks like a great product. I'm sure things will work out fine. As Dr. Bob's attorney, what would you advise? Now, this is a webinar, and we're not doing polling, so I can't ask you to raise your hands. But what I can tell you is that the audiences I do across the country, there are only occasionally, I'd say less than 1%, would any hand go up that says, they would say, go ahead, Dr. Bob, make the investment. 99+% of lawyers say, no, no way, without a written plan explaining how you get your return, this is not a smart investment, get the written plan. And yet, as attorneys, our children go unshod, right? We don't have, on average, 80% of us do not have a written plan. We do not have a written plan in plain English that explains how our investors, our stakeholders that I just explained to you earlier are going to get a return on their investment of our time, our money, our attention in our businesses. And it's so easy to write the plan. It only takes about 4 to 6 hours to really get a great first plan done. And all you have to do is have the plan address each and every one of the 7 main parts of every law firm, in fact, of every small business. Let's take a moment to review them. There has to be a plan for how your marketing is going to drive prospects to your door. And by door, I don't mean literal door. The door can be anywhere. It could be a web page. It could be your phone. It could be your door. It could be a coffee table at a Starbucks. But marketing has to deliver the prospects to the door, the right kind of prospects. Sales, number 2, is how you're going to convert those prospects from prospects to actual clients. Sales is something attorneys think they hate because they don't understand how it works. When you do it correctly, it's something you do for people, not to them. And you have to have a plan for how you sell legal services the right way. A factory or production line, there has to be a plan for how your factory produces the work product efficiently, professionally, and reliably, so you don't become a slave to your business. People. As you grow your business, in order to get the success by your terms, you probably are going to need to add people. There are more than 12 roles in every law firm, and if you're doing all of them, you're doing none of them well. And more importantly, you are following a very, very strict law of business, which is that no matter what you're doing, the most value you can bring to your business and to the owners of that business is the least amount you could pay someone else to do that job competently. If you answer your own phone without knowing and having an appointment with who's on the other end, you are a receptionist, and the most value you're bringing to your business is about $10 to $15 an hour. There's no getting around this. This is part of why the median income is as low as it is. Hiring the right people the right way to drive profitability is key. Physical plan, having a plan for your office space, whether virtual or otherwise, the equipment, all the tools that the people need to run the factory, including your policies and procedures, allow you to grow the business. And you have to have a plan for that, and you have to have a plan for your metrics. How do you know you're succeeding? What metrics should you track? There are 6 key metrics that every law firm owner should track, and you have to have a plan for where they're supposed to be month after month, quarter after quarter, year after year, in order to meet the milestones on the way to a successful law firm business. And the 7th part is you. You are the wild card in your business. You must grow into the owner of a successful law firm, and personal growth always precedes professional growth. So the 7 parts of business sort of work in a wheel. Marketing leads to sales. When you fix marketing, you get lots of prospects. Now sales is going to break because you don't have a plan for sales, so you have to build a plan for how sales is going to convert them. When sales does a good job converting, it sends them to the factory, which then breaks because you don't have a plan for how the factory is going to produce the work. You fix the factory, and then the people are going to break because you don't have enough people to run the factory. You fix the people, and they need more physical plant. You fix the physical plant, and the money and the metrics need to be revised so that you know where you're going next. And then once you revise the money and the metrics, that defines what you're going to do with your marketing. And then always in the middle is the one part of your business that will break everything and the only part of your business that can fix everything, you. And you have to pay attention to that as well. So when you think about a business, and again, in a webinar, we don't have time to conduct this exercise, but I'm showing it to you here because it's in the workbook that you're going to be able to download at the end of the webinar. And you really, really should do this exercise, giving yourself a score for each of the 7 parts of your business as I've described them, and giving yourself a 0 if you haven't really even ever thought about it before. A 1 for each part if you could explain it, but it's in verbal because it's never been in writing. You give yourself a 2 if you could show me something in writing, but it's more than 2 years out of date. And you get a 3 if you have it in writing and it's currently relevant to how your business works today. And there's a scoring mechanism and a key to the score, which will help you understand what phase of your business you are in and where you need to go next. See, a business plan is just seeing your business in this way. On the top, you have the 7 parts. And on the left here, you have the keys that you need in the plan for each of the parts. So for marketing, you have to have internal policies. These are why we do things the way we do them. Our marketing copy looks this way because of the values of this business. External policies. For others, how we do the marketing. For our marketing agencies, for marketing people, for websites, whoever, how we do business on the outside are external policies. Procedure. How we do things. So policies were why we do things the way we do them. Procedures are how exactly we get them done. And we use checklists. We do step 1, step 2, step 3. We use templates. Here's a form that you can use. An example, this is what it should look like when it's done. And all together, these things build a system. And for each and every part of your law firm, you have a system with policies, procedures, checklists, templates, and examples that show you how that part works. And that's how you build a business plan. When you use this grid, for when you first build a business plan, you make sure that each box has a check. When you look at your business as it is today, some boxes probably do have checks. So it's time to work on the ones that don't. Once they all have checks, you go back through and start making them stars. And once they have stars, you start making them circles or smiley faces or whatever. The point being is that you're always working your way through the cycle. You're working your way through the circle over and over and over again, always improving and iterating on your plan. That's how you build a written business plan that will walk you through the 4 stages of your law firm's growth. Stage 1 is about under $250,000 in gross revenues. Stage 2 through $500,000, Stage 3 through $1 million, and Stage 4 over $1 million. And the key to these stages is that what gets you to the top of each stage will get you stuck in that stage. And at the breaking point of each stage, you've got to change your business dramatically by revising your business plan according to the priorities listed here. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to skip through these because I want to move the webinar forward, but I wanted to show you that these are all included in your materials and in the downloadable workbook and in the downloadable deck. So review these stages. What we do when we work with law firms is that we walk them through getting to the top of each stage and then making the changes in their business plan necessary to move through that next stage. And we then have a coach that works with them every single month to make sure they're doing those things. The workbook I've been talking about is downloadable here at this bit.ly/ABA Business Plan Workbook. You can go check that out and download the workbook. All right, so the third strategy is learn the 2 jobs of marketing and use them to achieve success. What are the 2 jobs of marketing? Well, first of all, when you're thinking about marketing, you have to understand how to decide how many client prospects must marketing deliver to sales. Again, when you have a phone call from your marketing provider, they never ask you this question. They ask you what your marketing budget is, and that is a nonsense question. They should be asking you how many prospects do you need to deliver the right kind of prospect to the right place at the right time in the right quantity with the right expectations and in the right frame of mind. And then, very key, again, what nobody talks to lawyers about is the second job of marketing is to keep everybody else the heck away to protect the business. Your marketing should attract the right people and repel the others. Those are the 2 jobs of marketing. And then you create a marketing plan. From your definition of success of what your net income goal should be, and if it was a really big one, we might have to have a milestone goal, you then decide what your gross revenue has to be. You understand your average value of a case and how many, that will give you how many cases the firm needs. Let me walk you through this. So your marketing plan will look something like this. Let's say we say my net revenues, what I want to take home is $500,000 a year, $42,000 a month, $10,000 a week. If in a well-run law firm with 50% margins, that means that I've got to gross $1 million, $83,000 a month, $20,000 a week. If my average case value, let's say this is a mid-market firm, my average case value is $5,000, then the number of new cases I need are 200 a year, 17 a month, or 4 per week. 4 cases a week to get to $1 million. This is the beginning of a plan. If I convert about half the people I meet with, that means I have to have 8 calls per week, 33 calls per month. 33 qualified prospects per month. And if my funnel conversion rate, every kind of marketing has a different conversion rate. But let's say this was a pay-per-click type of marketing and has a 2% funnel conversion rate. Now I know if I want to get 33 sales calls, I need this pay-per-click to be out in front of 1,667 people. That's a marketing plan. Now you know what to go out and buy. You need 1,667 impressions per month on this one to get to $1 million. The truth is that you'll do 4 or 5 different things. You might do speaking engagements which have like a 10% funnel conversion rate, which means you'd only have to get in front of 330 people. Or you might do, let's say, advertising, which has like a 0.1% conversion rate, and so you need to have 33,000 impressions. Whatever it is, you can find out how many impressions you'll get and buy your marketing using a marketing plan that is this simple to build. And again, this is all in the materials that you can download at the bit.ly that I've provided you. The fourth strategy, selling for your clients. Profit is not a dirty word. So as I said at the beginning, selling done right is the most ethical thing we do for our client prospects. But first of all, let's understand what is selling. Selling, very plainly and very simply, is delivering somebody from a place they want less to a place they want more. Selling is motion. And what you're doing when you're selling to someone, for someone, is that you are helping them to understand that you can solve their problem or provide them access to an opportunity And you can give them value and charge them less than the value that you're giving them. In other words, that they can make a profit. And you have to always keep in mind why they're there talking to you. Nobody in the history of the world has ever gone in to talk to a lawyer because they have a legal problem. They have a personal problem. They have a problem. I talked to you, have to make a decision about buying. They have a problem that they want solved. You need to sell them a vision of their future. What will their future look like if they work with you? And you have to break their problem down into 3 aspects. 1, how is this problem impacting their time? Every problem will impact either their time, their money, or their reputation, or all 3. So ask them, figure out, talk to them, understand how is this problem impacting their time, how is this problem impacting their money, and how is this problem impacting their reputation. It could be 1 of those, 2 of those, or all 3 of those. But you need to understand that thoroughly, and then you paint a picture. If they work with you or someone like you, their problem will look like this in the future. If they don't, their problem is more likely to look like this in the future. Now listen, I understand we can't sell certainty. We can't sell that we will solve the problem. If they've been arrested, that we will get them off. We can't promise results all the time, but what we can promise is more certainty. What we can solve for them is that they're facing fear, they're facing uncertainty, they're facing the unknown, and you can take their problems and work on them and make them better. And if they don't work with you, they know they won't get better. And if they do work with you, their uncertainty will be relieved. They will go to bed knowing that no stone is left unturned. That is the vision of the future that you're selling to them. And then you walk them through the 5 steps of converting them. First of all, understand that they have a commitment to solving their problem. Then you walk through the time. In other words, if they're not committed to solving the problem, why are you wasting their time talking with them? Then you work with clarity over and over until you really get it crisp on how it's impacting their time, their money, and their reputation. Then you establish with them whether or not they actually want to solve this urgently or if they've got lots of time to solve it. You provide the options, working with you, working without you. Sometimes I recommended some practice areas, your options are I can give you my platinum version of my service, my gold version of my service, and my silver version of my service. Let them choose. And then ask them if they're prepared to make a decision as to whether or not to work with you. If they say no, you haven't established value, and just go back through the clarity. If they say yes, they're able to make a decision and it's not you, fine, you've done them a great service. You've given them clarity that you're not the person to give them a profit in working with you, and you can either make a referral or send them on their way. And of course, if they say yes, which much of the time, much more of the time than they are now, they will, because you'll be the only lawyer they've talked to actually walk them through this process. The thing to keep in mind is that the sale is all about them. It's not about you. In your marketing, in your sale, the minute you find yourself talking about your experience, the minute you start finding yourself talking about what you've done for others, the minute you find yourself talking about how you're going to file this motion and do this thing and turn the handle and make the sausage, you have departed the reservation. The sale is all about them. The entire conversation is about where they are today, where they want to be tomorrow, where you can get them tomorrow, and where they will be if you don't help them. It's all about them. Your job in talking with them is to give them love, to give them security, and to give them self-esteem, and to be absolutely dead certain that you're not trying to get that from them. To the extent you're trying to get love from your clients, you'll find that's where you're writing down your fees and selling them on the cheap or doing free work. Listen, pro bono works great. Do it intentionally. But where you're trying to get love, what you're actually doing is really hurting your client, because when you don't take enough fee, you can't work the case as diligently and as deeply. If you're trying to get security, if you're trying to get self-esteem, you are trying to get things from your client that you owe to them. And I'll just walk you through the sales call, and then we'll start to take questions. So that's the 4th strategy. The sales call is very simple. When you're speaking with a client prospect and you're going to go through those 5 steps, first of all, make sure you talk about in the open, thank you for coming. I have a half an hour, I have 45 minutes, I have an hour scheduled to talk to you today. Is that still good for you? Make sure that they have time to deal with their situation. 2, problem identification and understanding. That's the first 2 of the 5 steps. 3, explore their options and help them make a decision. And 4, close. Who's going to do what by when to get this case underway? That's the anatomy of a sales call. And those are 4 key strategies to make your business work for you. So how does that help you become a happy lawyer? Well, when you're absolutely clear on why the business exists, you're absolutely clear on and having a plan to execute on the reasons to give you the things that the business should give you, and you have a marketing plan and a sales plan, that should solve your why. That should solve the reason why you have a business. And so the real question then becomes, why not you? These strategies work time and time and time again. Lawyers starting at 0, starting over at 0, coming out of law school routinely can build a $250,000 practice in 18 months using these strategies. Lawyers can routinely double the revenues from there every 12 to 18 months through several $1 million just using these strategies. And some more, 2 other strategies that are in the workbook and in the deck that you'll be able to download as bonus materials. So the real question is, why not you? What is special about you that you cannot do this when they can? I'll tell you, there's nothing. The lawyers that work with us that achieve these kinds of goals are fat lawyers and skinny lawyers. They're tall lawyers and short lawyers. They're black lawyers and white lawyers and red lawyers and purple lawyers. They are smart lawyers, honestly, and not so smart lawyers. They are lawyers from every practice area and every walk of life. The strategies simply work because it's a simple business. What you need is a plan to execute those strategies. And quite honestly, what you need is someone to kick you in the rear end to execute on that plan.